play a game.
They're here.
Here's Johnny.
Welcome to my world, bitch.
Hi, I'm Chucky, and I'm your friend to the end. Heidi ho.
When you're down here with me, you belong down.
Like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Man, a blast from the past, huh?
The beardless bad guy.
The beardless bad guy. That was the 2K bad guy. Now he's the 2K bad guy.
The 720 bad guy.
The what?
The 720 or a 1080p bad guy.
Yeah, the 720 bad guy. No, you became 1080p whenever you got on this podcast, and then you became the 4K a little bit after that podcast.
Evolved.
Evolve over the years. Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Friday the 14th podcast. I am one of your hosts, Mr. Fuentes, and to the left, left of me, we have our beautiful, just as beardful co-host, sorry, not the bad guy Nick H anymore, but the 4K bad guy Nick H.
The 4K bad guy Nick H. It's a nice little introduction. I was like, am I a temporary co-host? Am I a special guest co-host?
You are a special guest co-host. Franco is not feeling very well, so we called our good friend the bad guy, and he was being a good guy by helping us out. So we are here. We're also a bit late. Sorry about that, guys. If anyone was waiting at 6 o'clock, I got out of work a little late as well. But we are here, and we are ready to review Creep, the 2014 movie on Netflix currently.
This is a Netflix exclusive, or it just streams on Netflix?
It's streaming on Netflix right now. I don't believe it's an exclusive, as far as I can tell. No, I believe it was like in theaters and stuff too, from the producers of Paranormal Activity and The Purge.
Blumhouse.
Yeah, it was like a weird one, like a mini Blumhouse, I think. I don't know. Do they have a side company?
Side, not that I know of. I mean, I just know Blumhouse like the main.
Yeah, it was a Blumhouse. Which I don't know. They put out a lot of horror-ish movies, huh? Are they a horror movie film kind of people? I've never done the research on them, to be honest.
Well,
I don't know much about that.
I think of them kind of like A24. When you're A24, I think people think of horror-related stuff, even though they do non-horror titles. Blumhouse, there's a movie called Whiplash that's about drumming. It's not really a horror movie, but it's under Blumhouse Productions.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, you're right. Every time I think of A24, I think of Swiss Army Man with Daniel Radcliffe. So A24, they make some movies, man. They make movies that are movies.
They make movies. I mean, currently with their first franchise, I guess you can say, or trilogy of that X Pearl, and then the one that comes after is Maxine.
X Pearl and Maxine. That's a trilogy they made.
Yeah,
So
X is the first one that came out. Pearl's more of a prequel, and then Maxine's the events after X.
So like X, like
X gonna give it to you.
X gonna give it to you. Okay, cool. All right, cool.
X Factor.
It's basically like Wakanda Forever. But all right. Yeah. So I guess let's get into Creep. Let's give the synopsis, the snaps. But before we get into the snaps, you could follow us at Friday the 14th podcast on Instagram. Also, follow us on Imosewa Productions on Instagram and also on YouTube as well. If you're watching this, you're already watching our beautiful faces on YouTube. But if you're not watching us on YouTube and seeing our beautiful faces, we do have a live video that is up here for y'all to stream and for y'all to see. So if you want to follow us there, that'd be awesome.
And be
But
in wall.
and Imosewa Productions. So yeah, so Creep. Let me get through the synopsis, and then I'll kind of give you. Well, we'll get our thought takes on the review for this movie, or what we thought when we were going to review this movie. So when a videographer enters an advert of the web, it's Craigslist, for a one-day job in a remote mountain town to video the last messages of a dying man. The job takes a strange turn when the last messages get darker and darker. The videographer continues to see the job through, but when it comes time to leave, he is unable to find his keys. And when he receives a strange phone call, he finds his client is not all what he intentionally seemed to be. If you haven't seen Creep before, Creep is streaming on Netflix right now. So y'all can check it out there. Just to let y'all know, there will be spoilers from here on in. So if you haven't seen it, go ahead and check it out on Netflix and then come back and watch the episode, or just be spoiled by us and then go back and watch it anyway. Have you seen Creep before this movie, or before this?
Creep. Well, no. I've never seen.
To watch this for the podcast. Yeah.
I've never seen it before for the podcast, but yeah, this is a movie that Franco's trying to be pushed down my throat for. I want to say even before the podcast. He's like, you should check out Creep. You should check out Creep. Whenever I had UHD going on, you should review Creep, and I'll be on. It's kind of hilarious that he's been wanting to review this movie, and unfortunately, he's on top condition. So
yeah,
felt bad for him. But yeah, if it wasn't for him trying to push out that movie, probably whenever. I mean, of course, Netflix tries to push out its recommendations, so I've seen it slide. But another way of knowing about this movie is I watch a lot of YouTube, so it's probably a Watch Mojo or some silly YouTube video like that. They give top Watch Mojo. they throw out like top found footage type movies or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, I'm really into that genre. It's not my favorite, but I do enjoy found footage type stuff.
Yeah, no, that is it is. I didn't know it was gonna be when I started watching horror movie podcasts that found footage videos are kind of seem to be my more favorite horror movies that I watch. Like VHS, definitely one of my favorite horror movies. VHS and VHS 2 were probably, I like them both a lot. They're both really good. And then, Paranormal Activities, I felt like they started kind of growing on me as well. But yeah, I never heard of this movie, didn't know nothing about this movie. I've seen the cover of this movie a lot, where the guy's standing on top of the staircase, just randomly, but I had no idea what I was getting into at all when I started watching this. So, Franco, we'll do our best to do this review justice for you. But I guess let's get into our ratings.
The ratings.
You want to go first?
Ooh, I'm gonna slap it on here. I'm gonna give it a 4.
4.
I almost kind of wanted to give it a 4.5 generously, but 4 is what I'm leaning towards.
Gotcha. I'm giving this a very flat 3.
The flat.
Almost gave it a 2.5, but I gave it the 3 in the end. Man, a 4, huh?
A 4.
All right. Tell me why give it such a generous
A generous.
rating of a 4.
I mean, there's not really that much horror factor to it. I mean, there's a little bit thriller.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I do like the main guy's acting, or how he try to convince like a story going on and whatnot. Uh, just that position. Like, I know you're watching it from like as a movie, whatever, but I oftentimes can feel like I'm the videographer. So like
Mm-hmm.
seeing it from the camera view, thought that was pretty cool. Seeing that, it gives you like an uncomfortable feeling.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like it is at the end of the day, it's just like a normal guy, but just how creepy this guy. I mean, the name the name of the movie, Creep.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
He definitely was a creep.
um, yeah, there's definitely a couple of scenes that do stick out. Like I really, that's pretty cool.
Which one? Like, is there one in particular you can think of right now? To
Um, Not really giving away like a big anything, but there's that scene where what is his name's Joseph, I believe that's the name he's claiming.
mm-hmm.
Um, Whenever like it's like towards the end of the movie, but he's like standing at the door, just very still, and it's just it reminded me of The Strangers, like or even Michael Myers, like just that still frame that always
Mm-hmm.
kind of gives me chills.
Yeah. No, it was definitely creepy. Um, Fun fact about this movie or trivia: pretty much almost the entire movie was improvised. There was no real script. Um, and the guys just kind of were making up things and kind of going along with everything that they were talking about. So pretty much everything was improvised. There was only a 5-page outline for this entire movie, um, and everything else was improvised. So just even that in mind kind of makes it pretty impressive. Because the movie ended up being like a 3. It was an average. I wouldn't say an average watch, but that's pretty much to me. It was a good watch. You can watch it one time and it's enjoyable. There was a lot of suspense into it as well. I think one of my favorite parts are like the um, the after kind of things after everything happens, and the little things like that were happening in the house, and he was just like oblivious to everything. Like it was just um I think one of my favorite scenes is when he got the video and he's like, "You threw away my locket, bro." Made me sad, man.
Took that to heart.
Uh, it broke his heart, man. Uh, it was kind of like crazy. Like there was a lot of things off, with him. And to begin with, like he was just like, "Hey, can I tell you? Can you tell me your deepest, darkest secret?" And then he tells them, and then he's like, "All right, well, this is my secret." And I was taking pictures of you when you first arrived at the house, and I was like, "Yeah, that's kind of creepy, man." um,
Is I wanted the upper hand. I wanted to know what I was getting myself into. Like,
yeah, it is kind of crazy that I'm reading this that it was almost totally improvised, but like, what parts were improvised? Like, are there was the ending like what parts are written? I guess my thought process, like, was it like the beginning or the plot, the ending, and like those pictures that they took of him like going up and down the thing, and that was like, all right, well, like we'll blend this into the movie eventually. Like, I don't know,
yeah,
it kind of makes me.
he just casually left the axe behind. Oh, I forgot to get that axe out of the shot. No, leave it in there.
Yeah, like, did they shoot that part first, and then they were like, hey, you know what, we should use that axe in the end, too. um I don't know. I did find the acting really good. I think, like you said, the guy who played Joseph, he um he did a really good job playing like the crazy person. Um I mean, there's not a lot of crazy things um that happen in this movie. Like you said, it's more of a kind of a psychological thriller than I think like a horror ish. But then it was kind of creepy, like the certain things like almost like paying a homage to Michael Myers, by standing at that door. That was definitely creepy. Um, what did you
What
think
about
of the What did you think of the ending of the movie? Like, I don't know, it kind of gets me too, like the ending.
the with how the thing just goes down?
Yeah, how everything goes down in the end.
Oh
Like what did you think of it? Like, did you think like that's exactly how it was gonna go down, or like did you think something more was gonna happen, or you were just like, oh wow, okay, well that just happened, okay.
no, well, I have a. I mean, I figured. I mean, uh, Aaron was gonna die. That was clear. I just didn't know how and when he was gonna do it. Just the fact that it happened like it was like a out, it was like a park or something like that. It was like out
Mhm.
in public, pretty much.
Yeah, like it was right there in public. Like, that was the funny thing was that like that was his that was his like way he lured him there was just like, hey, come out to this park and it's a public park, so you'll be safe and like whatever. Like what gets me is what he says at the end, where he's like, why didn't you turn around? Like, why didn't you like even look behind you? Like, I'm glad that you had this camera set up, and I'm glad that you had your finger ready to press 911. But like, you didn't even think to turn around. Like, and like, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, and then he says, "It's because you trusted me." And like, it sounds like he's a crazy person, but at the same time, it's like, but is he wrong? Like, you didn't hear the guy at all creeping up behind you. Not him's footsteps. Like, I don't know if
There
there was
was it was
leaves.
snow too, right?
Huh?
Snow.
Was it snow? I don't remember snow, but
Actually,
maybe.
it was like bright, bright scenery. Well, it's
But
like if
like,
there was snow, then you would hear the footsteps.
why have your back turned like that too? Like so
Just sitting there
open.
so casual, like,
Yeah,
ah, it's gonna happen.
like I wouldn't have had my back turned looking at the freaking ocean if you thought someone was gonna come hurt you. But like, I guess he just didn't expect an axe to the head. Like, he just didn't expect that. Like, I guess he thought he was gonna like greet him and talk to him and be creepy, or maybe he
One
was
final
gonna try to,
showdown.
huh?
Like one final showdown of conversation. I
Yeah, or
mean,
something. I guess
af
that had to be what he expected.
I mean, after all that, like video, message that you send him, whatever, and just kind of playing with them. But just that slow creeping up behind him with the axe, and just how it's
He,
shot
he
to
even stops, puts on the mask,
the mess.
and then like does his thing. Like that was insane.
Sneaky wolf. And then I don't know, man, just the shot looked pretty pretty close to real. So it
Yeah.
really uh it makes you feel so like I don't know. So I don't really like. I mean, I watch horror movies. It's cool seeing the murders happen or whatever, but when you see an actual video of real life, just like even beheadings, whatever, just is just weird.
Mm-hmm.
Just like
So
the way the axe just top of the head. It's like shit.
someone took the time to look through pause when that guy opened his cabinet, and you see all the videos of all the, we assume, victims' names, and there's at least 57 people prior to Aaron that he killed. There's 35 victims that you can see by name, and then there's 24 on this bottom row where you don't see anyone's name. You just see the top parts of the tape, so you know that there was a cassette there. So that's kind of crazy that like this guy's been a serial killer. I mean, that's a serial killer status, like 50 something people. Like that's crazy. And he hasn't got caught yet. Like, I'm kind of curious of watching, because there is a Creep 2. I'm kind of curious of watching Creep 2 just to like see how they continue this saga. Apparently, there's even a possibility of a Creep 3 in the making, but apparently, from what I kept reading, there's been a talk of Creep 3 happening for like the past 4 years or something. So
I find it funny, like there's always those movies like they plan on sequels, but something's always in the way of making it happen. Like that movie we reviewed, The Collector. Supposed to be a third movie, but they never got around to doing it.
Yeah, you're right.
But as far as Creep 2, I actually had got around to checking that out right after I finished this one.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
What'd you think of it? Was it like same kind of par as this movie?
I want to say the second one's kind of more enjoyable. Yeah, but it has there's more comedic tone in that one.
Yeah,
It's still just as creepy.
Looking at the trivia thing, they actually started this movie as a black comedy or like dark comedy. But then when they talked to the producers, they decided to take the turn to make it from a dark comedy to a horror thriller. So, and apparently there's 3 alternate endings to this movie. So I haven't seen any more than the one on Netflix. So if anyone, well, actually Franco has the DVD. It probably has all the alternate endings on there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the DVD is really accessible now, and things like out of print.
Yeah. So only Franco has the alternate endings. No matter how magical Nick's pants are, he can't get the out of print Creep DVD out of there. So you're gonna have to find it somewhere else, guys.
Nah.
Oh, they are in there?
What?
You said no. I was like, oh, you do have it deep down in there?
The deep dive.
You're gonna have to do a deep dive into the upside down of your pants. So I kind of like we started a kind of a newish segment talking about like the legacies, and you know I think it's been, obviously I always bring it up because it's a thing that pops in my head every time I think about video movies, but the Blair Witch Project probably being like one of the pioneers of videotape, or how did you call them earlier?
Found footage.
Found footage kind of videos and movies.
Yeah.
Do you think this is with a high rating of 4, you know, you think this is uses that type of genre well, you know, in this type of thing? Do you think it does it justice for found footage filming as a found footage film?
As far as like the story itself is pretty interesting. I would imagine like if you had like the serial killers that already did, like Jeffrey Dahmer, I would imagine something like that, like a modern, just following around. There's a movie similar, not kind of. It's the movie called Behind the Mask with Leslie Vernon.
Of Mr. Fuentes?
Mr. Fuentes. But in that movie, like in that I guess universe, whatever reality, people like Michael Myers, Freddy, Jason are real life in that way. You don't
Huh.
see them, but they're actually living that reality, and they kind of do it's like a mockumentary like shot, so it's found footage of a
Interesting.
serial killer. Trying to
Um,
remind you of that.
so do you think that like the the kind of fast, well, I wouldn't even say fast. I mean, when we were younger, or at least when I was younger, I'm not 100% sure how what our age difference is, but I used to watch videos on VHS. I used to record. We had a videotape recorder that was like this big, you know, and that took full cassettes to record things. Like you look like one of those old fashioned recorders when you recorded anything. Um, so we used to have those types of things where you could record stuff and we could watch them later and stuff like that. And you think the nostalgia of like that era of media is what popularized like this type of genre of um, movie, or do you think it's something else like entirely? Like, because I mean, we haven't went to found DVD footage. Hey, we found a DVD with all this footage, like, and it's like a popular thing. Like, it's always video cassette. It seems
The
like
VHS in
the
movies.
VHS, yeah.
I mean, they even go further in the 90s and 80s in that franchise. Think Cloverfield. They try to say something about, I think something of flash drive. Like at the beginning of the movie, they refer to that. Even though in the movie they say they try to talk about like um that there's a videotape in the thing, like they're pretty much recording over it. I don't know. It's kind of a weird throw off there, but it says something about flash drive.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you think about it, Mother of Monsters,
That's
that was technically a found footage. It was showing clips of something that's they found on the computer and things like that. So that was, I guess you would consider that found footage as well. But I don't know. I still kind of feel like there's some kind of nostalgia in video cassettes. Like I think it just brings you back to that era of time too. Like when you see like in VHS, there's a room full of freaking VHSs. You feel like you're in the 1990s, because there's a room full of VHSs and a video cassette player. Um, maybe it's actually those types of movies are actually geared toward like 25 to like 40-year-old people who used to actually play with, VHSs a lot.
yeah.
I don't
I
know.
don't have a. I collect VHSs, cool ones. Like I don't have a VHS player. It'd be cool to own one of those TVs that have a built-in VHS. So
I
I mean,
used to
the recent VHS I got was The Ring. I mean, how can you not get a movie about a cursed VHS tape in a VHS tape format?
Right, right.
It was like
Curse not included, or is
7 days.
it? Well, if Nick's here in 7 days, then the curse wasn't included. Oh, wait, you can't even watch it. You don't have a VHS. Somebody
Nah.
send Nick a TV VHS combo, like for his birthday, which is I don't know when, but just send him one. He needs 3 actually, so he can watch 3 movies at a time.
Yeah, it's like to go further back. I believe there's a movie called Cannibal Holocaust. I believe was with
Cannibal
films.
Holocaust.
I think that's before Blair Witch. I've actually never seen this movie, but it's very controversial. I think they actually like they killed the animals on the movie, or they just showed actual dead animals. I don't know, because in the movies they say no animals harming in the making of this film, but I believe in that
Uh-huh.
movie they're actually
Harming animals.
yeah. Or so I
Yeah.
remember hearing about they called it the police or something like that because of the video. It looks so real or something.
Dang, that's
There's a whole
crazy.
thing around that movie, but I've never seen it. That was like one of the earlier found footage type movies. Um, there's this thing called Ghost Watch. That's kind of found footage. That's like it's like a news broadcast, whatever.
Did you pull that out of your pants?
I did.
Oh, okay. Dang. But yeah, I mean, like I said, found footage has been one of more favorite genres of horror. You know, if you haven't seen any of the ones that we've talked about, Mother of All Monsters, that was a pretty good one, at least in my opinion. VHS 2 were really good ones. If you haven't seen Creep, you know, I would suggest checking Creep out. You know, Nick gave it a 4, I gave it a 3. I believe, you know, it's at least worth the watch at least one time.
Yeah, it's very underrated. I mean, I don't think many people even know about the movie. Like,
Creep.
I mean, yeah. I if also doing UHD, that's probably the movie that would have been thrown on there. I guess it's just I don't know, Netflix movie.
Netflix movie, man.
It's one of the movies you see on Netflix.
So, are you ready for the favorite taglines?
Taglines.
You got taglines for this movie?
I'm a creep. I'm a weirdo.
Creep. What does he call it? Creep. Meet Mr. Peach Fuzz.
This Peach Fuzz.
Creep. Hey, let's go to the bathtub.
Creep. What he called it? Tubby. What was it?
Tubby time.
Tubby time.
Creep. It's tubby time.
Creep.
Creep. Always look behind you.
Creep. Obsession at its finest.
Creep. He didn't rape anyone.
There's a story made up. Oh, wow.
Creep. New friend or new stalker? Creep. It's not about the money.
For him, it was. I just need the money, man.
I'll just leave now, Deuce.
Oh man, that part whenever his supposed sister, I guess. That's supposed to be also be his wife.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, you should probably just leave. You should take off.
Yeah. Yeah, that was insane. Definitely a plot twist, that's for sure. I didn't expect that. Is there anything about the movie that you didn't like in general? I think for me, you know, it's not that I didn't like the movie. I think it was well enough. I mean, I'm actually really impressed that most of it was improvised because I thought a lot of what they talked about was definitely interesting and definitely kind of creepy, especially like the tubby time and things that happened and like him talking about, you know, what he did with his wife that one time. Those definitely gave creepy vibes, you know, and then just the little videos and little stuff in between. Like I really want to know how much was improvised and how much was written out because a lot of that stuff, like it just seemed like it was so well planned out that I'm just like, wow, that's a pretty well rounded story you put together, and a lot of it was improvised. It makes me really curious, to be honest. But overall, like, if I really think about the movie, I think that's probably what I've noticed about it, was that it felt like it was all kind of like made up and like done on the spot. So it just kind of didn't make it feel right for me. So maybe that was at least on my side of the side, that's how I felt. Probably why I gave it a 3, because I just felt like, I don't know, like it was just something that was slapped together in the end. But I don't know. I mean, it's enjoyable. It makes sense for the most part, and you can watch it all the way through and just be like, okay. There's a few twists and turns. Most movies don't even have those, so good job on that.
But the hugs were their improvs. Every time we
hugs?
see him, we give him a hug.
Oh yeah. Man, that's so. Yeah, but next week we will be reviewing My Bloody Valentine 1981, which is on Hulu. Let me see for sure. It's on Hulu right now. If you want to check out My Bloody Valentine, that'll be the next one that'll be reviewed. And actually, I believe I have a lot of personal things going on with my music side of things. Mr. Fuentes, I'm actually going to be taking a small hiatus. But next week, it should be Manny and Franco back on here again. Doing it. So we're getting a lot of old goodies. You get the original 2. We get the next original 2, like me and Nick. It's a lot of fun things happening this season. But yeah, I hope to come back soon. Just trying to get a few things done on my music side. And then I'll be back on reviewing these with them, along with Juan, whenever I think, unfortunately, he's going to be out for the rest of the month as well for work-related reasons. But definitely Manny, I'm excited to have him back with Franco. Manny's a great host as well. So, and he was one of the originals. So come back next week at 6 p.m. On a Wednesday, and we'll be reviewing they will be reviewing My Bloody Valentine. But all right. Anything you need to plug or put in before we leave?
Nah, not really so much. Just follow me, the 4K bad guy. Yeah, that's about it. Shout out to the boys.
To the boys. And I brought out an album to like show off, but my new album, Sneak Peek, will be streaming on all streaming platforms musically this Friday, February 10th. Please go ahead and give it a listen and let me know what y'all think. Y'all can find me at Mr. Fuentes 361 or pretty much anywhere. Social media, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, all at Mr. Fuentes 361. But my newest album, Sneak Peek, will be on all streaming platforms this Friday, February 10th. I definitely put a lot of work into it, and I think y'all will enjoy it. So check it out. If you haven't checked out any of my music before, go ahead and check it out. We're also doing episodes current to this new album release on my other podcast, Behind the Mask. So go ahead and check those out, and you can get a deep dive into those. Speaking of deep dive, we could also watch the deep dive into the Upside Down. That's coming back as well. And then I think very soon we're going to start getting back into Fanboy. So a lot of stuff coming up in Emo Sawa Productions. So if you haven't subscribe so we can entertain y'all with all the things we have going on. Thank y'all so much for joining us on here. We really appreciate y'all listening and watching. We'll be back. I'll be back eventually. And next week, Manny and Franco, like I said. But until then, peace.
The ultra.